In Buddhist teachings, life is not a straight path. It is a wheel, turning endlessly through birth, death, and rebirth. Each cycle is shaped by karma, the actions and intentions we carry from one life to the next. Most souls wander through countless lives, repeating the same lessons until they are truly understood. But there are rare moments in the journey when a soul reaches the final stage, a point where the chains of samsara, the cycle of rebirth, are about to break. If you see certain signs appearing in your life, they may not be coincidences. They can be deep indicators that your soul is nearing its last earthly existence. These signs are not mystical exaggerations. They are rooted in the heart of Buddhist wisdom, pointing to detachment, clarity, compassion, and inner freedom that go beyond normal human experience. For a man or woman in the modern world, these signs can appear in unexpected ways, through how you see relationships, how you respond to suffering, and how you view the meaning of life itself. In this journey, we will uncover 15 clear signs that you may be living your last life cycle. Watch closely. One of them may already be within you. 1. Deep inner detachment. One of the clearest signs you may be in your final life cycle is a profound and unshakable detachment from the illusions of the world. This does not mean you reject life or run from responsibilities. It means your heart is no longer held hostage by the things most people obsess over: status, wealth, validation, and the constant need to be somebody in the eyes of others. In Buddhism, detachment is not coldness, it is freedom. A man or woman in their last life understands that everything that rises will fade, and everything that is gained will one day be lost. Because of this, you may find yourself no longer chasing things you once thought were important. The craving for recognition weakens. The thrill of possessions fades quickly. Even when you enjoy life's pleasures, you do not cling to them. This detachment also shows in how you handle pain. You no longer drown in self-pity when hardship comes, nor do you feel the need to fight against what is. Instead, you watch events like a silent witness, knowing they are passing waves in a vast ocean. This depth of letting go is not apathy, it is mastery. When the grip of the world loosens on your heart, your karma is almost complete, and your soul begins to stand at the edge of liberation. 2. A profound sense of compassion. When a soul nears the end of its earthly journey, compassion is no longer a choice, it becomes your very nature. You do not have to force kindness or remind yourself to care. It flows naturally, even toward people who may have wronged you. In Buddhism, this is the embodiment of karuna, a deep, unconditional compassion that sees the shared suffering in all beings. You begin to recognize that anger, cruelty, and ignorance in others are not personal attacks, but expressions of their own inner pain. Instead of reacting with hostility, you respond with understanding. This compassion is not naive or blind. You do not allow people to abuse you or cross healthy boundaries. Rather, your empathy is paired with wisdom. You help when you can, and when you cannot, you silently send goodwill. Even your thoughts toward others carry a healing quality. Men and women who show this sign often feel the suffering of the world as if it were their own. A starving child in another country, a grieving stranger, even an injured animal, all stir something deep in your heart. This is not weakness. It is the strength of a soul that has transcended selfishness. When compassion has become effortless and universal, it is a clear sign your spirit is ready to step beyond the cycle of rebirth. 3. Disinterest in material gains. As you move closer to your final life cycle, you begin to see material possessions for what they truly are: temporary tools, not lasting treasures. While others may measure success by the size of their home, the brand of their clothes, or the balance in their bank account, you understand that these things can never define who you are. In Buddhist wisdom, attachment to material wealth fuels the cycle of rebirth because it binds the mind to craving and fear of loss. A man or woman nearing liberation does not reject material things completely. They simply do not cling to them. You may still work hard, still appreciate comfort, but the hunger for more fades away. This detachment brings a lightness to your life. You no longer compare yourself to others in envy or pride. You no longer feel the need to prove your worth through what you own. Even when you achieve success, you enjoy it without letting it consume your identity. When wealth comes, you see it as a tool to do good, to create, or to help others. When it goes, you let it go without bitterness. This deep shift from chasing possessions to valuing inner peace is a powerful indicator that your soul is reaching the final stretch of its journey through samsara. 4. Freedom from the fear of death. One of the most telling signs that you are in your final life cycle is a profound peace when contemplating death. For most people, death is the great terror, the unknown void that makes them cling desperately to life. But when your soul has matured over countless lifetimes, death is no longer an enemy. It becomes simply another doorway. In Buddhist wisdom, death is not an end, but a transformation, a transition from one form of existence to another, or, for the liberated soul, a final release from the wheel of samsara. A man or woman nearing this point sees death as part of the natural rhythm, no more tragic than the sunset after a day. This does not mean you are reckless with life or indifferent to living. In fact, you value life deeply, but without the anxiety of losing it. You understand that the body is a temporary vessel, and that the consciousness, shaped by karma, continues beyond this form. Such freedom brings immense clarity. You are able to live more fully because you are not constantly haunted by the shadow of mortality. Every moment becomes precious, but not desperate. This quiet acceptance of death is a sign your soul is almost ready to step into the ultimate liberation. Nirvana. 5. A strong pull towards solitude. When the soul is nearing its last life cycle, solitude begins to feel less like isolation and more like home. You may notice a growing comfort in being alone, not because you dislike people, but because your inner world has become richer than any external noise. In Buddhist thought, silence and solitude are not about escaping the world, but about hearing it more clearly. In the quiet, the mind reveals its true nature. For a man or woman close to liberation, time alone is not loneliness, it is nourishment. You find clarity in stillness, insights in the calm, and a sense of connection with the universe that no crowd can give. This pull towards solitude often comes with a natural withdrawal from meaningless chatter and superficial relationships. You no longer seek constant social validation or feel the need to fill every moment with activity. Instead, you choose company that aligns with your spirit and avoid situations that drain your energy. In this space, your mind deepens in meditation, your heart opens in reflection, and your awareness sharpens. The need for external stimulation fades, replaced by an inner contentment that signals a soul almost ready to complete its earthly journey. 6. Heightened awareness of karma. As you approach your final life cycle, the workings of karma become vividly clear, not just as a philosophical idea, but as a living truth you see unfolding in every moment. You start noticing the direct connection between actions, intentions, and consequences. It is as if a veil has been lifted, revealing how every word you speak, every choice you make, and every thought you hold creates ripples in your life and in the lives of others. This awareness brings a deep sense of responsibility. You no longer act carelessly or speak without thought, because you understand that every seed planted, whether good or harmful, will eventually return to you. You become more intentional, more mindful, and more committed to creating harmony instead of chaos. In Buddhism, such insight is called right view, one of the foundations of the Noble Eightfold Path. A man or woman with this clarity stops blaming luck, fate, or other people for their life circumstances. Instead, they see life as a mirror reflecting their own past actions and attitudes. This does not make you paranoid or overly cautious. It makes you wise. You begin to live with integrity, not out of fear of punishment, but from an inner desire to align with truth. When your life flows in harmony with the law of cause and effect, it is a strong sign that your soul is nearing its release from the endless wheel of rebirth. 7. Loss of interest in power and control. When a soul is close to completing its journey, the craving for dominance over others fades away. You no longer feel the need to control outcomes, manipulate situations, or assert your authority just to prove your worth. Power for its own sake becomes meaningless. In Buddhism, the thirst for control is rooted in fear. Fear of uncertainty, fear of loss, fear of being powerless. But when you begin to see the impermanent nature of all things, you realize that control is an illusion. The river of life flows according to causes and conditions far beyond any one person's grasp. A man or woman nearing liberation stops wrestling with this river. Instead of trying to bend life to their will, they move with it. This does not mean passivity or weakness. It means acting with wisdom and letting go of the obsessive need to dictate every outcome. You may still lead when it is necessary, but your leadership is based on service, not ego. Even in relationships, you release the urge to possess others emotionally. Love becomes free of ownership. Respect becomes mutual, not demanded. This release from the hunger for power is a sign of a soul that has tasted true inner freedom, one step closer to the end of samsara. 8. A deep sense of life's impermanence. In the later stages of the soul's journey, impermanence is no longer just a concept. It becomes a truth you feel in your bones. You watch the seasons change, people age, relationships shift, and you understand with perfect clarity that nothing stays the same. This realization does not fill you with sadness. It fills you with peace. Buddhism teaches anicca, the truth that all conditioned things are transient. For most, this truth is uncomfortable, but for a man or woman in their final life, it becomes liberating. You no longer cling desperately to moments, nor do you resist change. You begin to flow with it, understanding that trying to hold on only creates suffering. This awareness reshapes the way you live. You savor conversations, sunsets, laughter, and even challenges because you know they are fleeting. You let go of grudges faster because you realize both the hurt and the hurter will eventually pass from this life. Impermanence also strips away illusions of permanence in success, youth, beauty, and possessions. You see them for what they are, temporary experiences, not lasting truths. Accepting impermanence with an open heart is a powerful mark of a soul that is almost ready to step off the endless wheel of rebirth and into liberation. 9. Increasing inner stillness. One unmistakable sign that you are nearing your last life cycle is a growing inner stillness, a silence within your mind that cannot be disturbed by external chaos. This is not mere calmness, but a profound state of presence where the restless chatter of the ego begins to dissolve. In Buddhist practice, this stillness is the heart of meditation and mindfulness. It is the space where true insight arises, free from distraction, judgment, or craving. For a man or woman in this stage, moments of inner silence become more frequent and more easily accessible. You find yourself naturally returning to this space even in the middle of a busy day. This stillness is not emptiness or numbness. It is vibrant awareness. It allows you to witness thoughts and emotions without attachment or aversion. You stop being pulled into reactive patterns because you see them for what they are, passing phenomena, not your true self. As this inner quiet deepens, it creates a foundation for wisdom and compassion to grow. It also weakens the hold of fear, desire, and confusion. This growing inner stillness signals that your soul is shedding layers of ignorance and preparing to transcend the cycle of birth and death. 10. A clear understanding of suffering. As you approach your final life cycle, your understanding of suffering, dukkha, becomes sharper and more profound. You no longer see suffering as just pain or hardship, but as the root condition that binds all beings to the cycle of rebirth. In Buddhism, suffering is the first noble truth. Recognizing its causes, attachment, craving, ignorance, is key to liberation. A man or woman nearing the end of their journey does not deny suffering or seek to escape it through distractions. Instead, you face it directly, with courage and clarity. This deep understanding transforms how you respond to pain, physical emotional, or spiritual. You do not resist suffering with fear or anger. You see it as a teacher, a mirror reflecting what must be released. This perspective brings a calm acceptance that even the worst pain is temporary and part of a greater process. By truly embracing suffering, you break its power over you. You stop running from uncomfortable truths and instead use them to purify your heart and mind. This acceptance is a clear sign that your soul is ready to move beyond the endless wheel of rebirth. 11. Letting go of ego identity. When nearing your last life cycle, the grip of ego, the false self constructed by attachments, fears, and desires, begins to loosen. You start to see yourself not as a fixed individual, defined by titles, roles, or opinions, but as a flowing part of the greater whole. In Buddhist teachings, the ego is the root of suffering because it creates separation and craving. A man or woman close to liberation experiences moments where the boundaries of self dissolve, revealing the interconnectedness of all beings. This is not a vague idea, but a direct, lived experience. You no longer identify strongly with your achievements, failures, or even your personality traits. You recognize these as temporary masks worn by consciousness. This shift does not erase your uniqueness. Rather, it frees you from the prison of self-centeredness and allows compassion and wisdom to expand naturally. This process can feel unsettling at first, as the ego resists losing control. But gradually, the resistance weakens, replaced by a deep peace. Letting go of ego identity is a crucial sign your soul is preparing to transcend the cycle of rebirth once and for all. 12. Living with purpose beyond self. In the final life cycle, your motivations shift from self-centered desires to a broader, more profound purpose. You begin to live not for personal gain or fleeting pleasures, but to serve something greater, whether it is the welfare of others, the planet, or the spiritual evolution of all beings. Buddhism teaches the importance of bodhicitta, the awakened mind of compassion that aspires to liberate all beings from suffering. A man or woman on the cusp of liberation embodies this ideal. Your actions become deliberate, aligned with kindness and wisdom rather than ego-driven ambitions. This sense of purpose is not imposed or forced. It arises naturally from your growing awareness of interconnectedness and impermanence. You feel called to leave a positive imprint on the world, whether through small acts of kindness or profound contributions to collective well-being. Living with this selfless purpose brings a clarity and joy that surpasses any personal achievement. It signals a soul that has outgrown the confines of samsara and is preparing to take the final step toward liberation. 13. A natural acceptance of others. As you near your last life cycle, judgment of others softens. You recognize that everyone is trapped in their own patterns of suffering and ignorance. Instead of frustration or condemnation, you meet others with acceptance and patience, even when their actions conflict with your values. In Buddhist wisdom, this is the practice of equanimity, a balanced mind that neither clings nor rejects. You understand that no one is perfect, and that each person's path is unique. This acceptance is not passive approval of harmful behavior, but a deep acknowledgement of the human condition. Men and women, embodying this sign, find peace in relationships that once caused turmoil. You release grudges and the need to control how others behave. This freedom allows for more genuine connection and reduces inner conflict. Such natural acceptance reflects a soul that is shedding the last layers of ego and preparing for liberation from the cycle of rebirth. 14. Trust in the flow of life. One of the most profound signs you are in your last life cycle is a deep, unwavering trust in the flow of life. You no longer fight against circumstances or try to force outcomes. Instead, you move with the current, knowing that everything unfolds according to a greater wisdom beyond your control. In Buddhism, this trust is linked to samadhi, right view, and the understanding of dependent origination, that all things arise and pass away due to causes and conditions. You see that resistance only creates suffering, while acceptance brings peace. This trust is not passive resignation. It is an active surrender that coexists with effort and intention. You still work toward goals and act with purpose, but without clinging to specific results or fearing setbacks. For modern men and women, this trust is liberating. It frees you from anxiety and disappointment, allowing you to face life's uncertainties with courage and grace. When this trust is firmly rooted, it signals a soul ready to transcend the endless wheel of rebirth. 15. Inner peace that transcends circumstances. The final sign you are living your last life cycle is a profound inner peace that remains unshaken regardless of external conditions. You may face loss, hardship, or confusion, yet a deep calm persists within you, a quiet center that no storm can disturb. In Buddhist teachings, this peace is the fruit of wisdom and compassion working together. It is not dependent on happiness or comfort, but arises from true understanding of reality, the impermanence of all things, and the non-self nature of existence. A man or woman who embodies this peace no longer reacts impulsively or with fear. Instead, you respond with patience and clarity, grounded in a knowing that all things pass and that suffering can be transformed. This peace is not something to be chased, it is a natural state emerging as the mind lets go of ignorance and attachment. When you live from this place, it is a clear sign your soul is poised to break free from samsara and rest in the liberation of nirvana. Your journey through life is marked by signs that reveal the maturity of your soul. If you recognize these 15 signs within yourself, the deep detachment, unwavering compassion, release from ego, and profound inner peace, you stand on the threshold of your last life cycle. Buddhist wisdom teaches that this is a rare and sacred stage, a moment when the endless wheel of birth and death is ready to cease turning for you. Embrace these signs not as burdens, but as gifts, guiding you toward liberation. Your soul's final chapter is one of freedom, clarity, and boundless peace.